Good morning, Commanders. We have SR14 Leshir for you in the most recent clan raid. I am Mathermar from the command table, and I'll be showing you my SR14 attempts and an SR10 attempt. So before we get too far in, if you'd be so kind as to like, subscribe, and if you want notifications when I drop new videos, hit that notification bell. Also, if you have any comments or if you have a build that you think I ought to try, please feel free to leave comments below. So let's go ahead and show you what we're working with here. We have SR14 Leshir with Earthquake and Burning Attacks. Now, since we're going to be attempting to accomplish the entire encounter in the first 10 seconds using the immunity elixir, we really don't have to worry about either of those. If you are going to go for a more sustained build where you aren't using a swarm and maybe you're using some untamed beasts, then you would probably want to use the elemental resistance elixir at least. The untamed beast should already be immune to stun, so you'd be able to sustain through with something like that. Anyway, since what we're working with is a swarm, we don't have to worry about the earthquake other than the stun. So every 5 seconds, you're going to have a 75% chance of being stunned for 2 seconds, which is where in the present era we have Wraiths, which do not need Unshackle because they have a built-in resistance to stun and physical forces. The Warhounds and everything else, however, will need Unshackle. So if you don't want to use the force resistance elixir, then Unshackle is the way to go. I've got plenty of these. They should be kicking around all over the place. If not, it doesn't take much to purchase a couple bundles of gems if you want to, or not gems, a couple bundles of Powerstone packs, and you'll get quite a few of them that way. I have left all of the Berserk on my Warhounds, but it doesn't really help me. If you're struggling to cap off the damage, then you may want to switch out to either the corrupted damage or damage 2. See if that puts you over the top, but I was not obligated to do that. I was able to get them down just fine. So those are a couple suggestions. I do have Unshackle on everything else. The dire wolves, I'm not as concerned about the damage power stones on them. They're mostly there for that 64.5% debuff. The risen warriors, on the other hand, I have put the corrupted strike on because they have immunity, so they're not going to be doing damage to themselves, and I really want them to get out that rear life stone. So I've seen some other people that are using 3 sets of Risen Warriors in the back. My build pushes through enough on the top and bottom with the Wraiths, Warhounds, and Direwolves that they get to those rear life stones about the same time that Risen Warriors would be popping. So I prefer to use more on my front end to push through than using the inferior Risen Warriors to take those out. So the artifacts that we're using, I've got my Primal Warhorn, which I'm very close to level 4 on, and I've got it maxed out on the run speed. You don't have to worry as much about the immunity because you're already using the Elixir of Immunity. I have the Ring of Unity, which I just got to rank 3 last raid, and that gives me the 55% at 5 seconds for the nature, and that should be enough to push through. There's not going to be enough time for the chaos to really get much benefit out of the ring because they start at 15 seconds, so they're not going to get much benefit out of this, but the nature units will really crank. You don't want to use Amulet of the Panther Queen on this particular setup. I know we did that last video for Leshir, but we do not have the wounded debuff, so that's kind of worthless for this one. So we are using Ring of Unity, and then obviously Spear of Cataclysm, because that's the only thing that's going to make an impact. The risk of using Eyes of the Ancient One is that you'll mind control something and then it might pop back out, and then you've got something to clear out and it just kind of distracts. So I just think Spear is the preferable choice. So let's go ahead and show you a couple of runs on this. Let's go ahead and start right there. This was my first go. I had some Plaguebearers up front and center. There's a theory that we'll probably bring up to you here in the next couple of weeks about why Plaguebearers may be preferable. It's still in the works. There's a clanmate of mine that's got an excellent theory, but we'll let it percolate for a bit before we reveal it to everyone. But anyway, there you go. You saw it just push right through. I moved the Plaguebearers back on this one and moved the Warhounds to the top and bottom. It almost doesn't matter what formation you put them in as long as you stack them as close to that front line as possible and make sure that you put your highest level units on the top and bottom. The reason for that is because you want them to push all the way through to the back as quickly as possible. So I put my level 12s on the top and bottom. I have one set of level 12 Warhounds that I put at the top and a set of level 12 Wraiths that I put at the bottom. And that seems to have served me pretty well, just because it does get to those powers or life stones very quickly. Okay, this one, again, another couple of adaptations. I dropped the Plaguebearers. It just doesn't seem to really matter what formation you stack them up in, so long as you're just putting your highest level units and you've got mostly Wraiths and Warhounds. It seems like you can either switch out for Direwolves or Plaguebearers. Either way, you just want to make sure you get that push. And again, if you don't have enough push, then throw in a Power Elixir, and that ought to top you off. So I think this is the attempt number 4. Again, 4 out of 4. A few different setups. Almost doesn't really matter. You just got to make sure you have that immunity on. And there you go. 4 for 4. So we'll go ahead and skip to the end on that, and I will show you my SR10. Okay, so this is going to skim through. We got Corrupted Strike on the Wraiths because we've got immunity, so they're not going to kill themselves. We've got Corrupted Damage 2 because we don't have the Wounded debuff, so Berserk is not optimal. And then just Damage 2. And Unshackle on everything except the Wraiths. And then Unshackle and a Corrupted Strike on that one set of Risen Warriors. The reason I've got that one set, as you'll see, is because the frontline units, they do great at pushing through to those first 4 Powerstones, but it's that last one that I want to knock out quickly. And you want the strike to knock it out as quickly as possible. Boom, boom, boom. There it goes. Makes him vulnerable, and I've got that 1.5 seconds to make sure he goes down. And then the rest is just gravy. So there you go, SR14 and SR10 Leshir. I'm sure there's several other viable builds out there. For the cost of 1 immunity elixir, I don't have to think much about it though, so we'll just do that for now. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Appreciate the support for the channel, and we will have more content for you soon.